Hello students, we're going to continue with grammar. Today's grammar will include adverbs, adverb clauses, and comparing irregular adverbs. Let's just kind of recap quickly. An adverb modifies or it describes a verb or another adverb. That's what we had on last week's previous lesson. So remember that it modifies or describes an adjective. An adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun. So in this case, we're talking about adverbs modifying or describing a verb or another adverb. So let's go to our next lesson, which is going to be called adverb clauses. So the objective of this lesson, students, is to use clauses in sentences with subordinating conjunctions. And you remember what a conjunction is. It is a word that connects two sentences. Okay, so let me explain, and I will do this, what an adverb clauses are. They're words like where, when, why, and because. And they are usually subordinating conjunctions, words that can begin with a dependent clause that basically tells the action, or a main or independent clause of a sentence. I know that sounds very frustrating, but I'll explain when I give you the example. So in independent and dependent clauses, words such as where, when, why, and because are subordinating conjunctions. And these words, they can begin dependent clauses that tell about the action in a main or independent clause of the sentence. So remember that the word dependent means that in order for something to work, it depends on something else. That's the same thing. These are particular words. Independent means that that sentence can work by itself alone, but it also works with a dependent clause. So that's where your conjunction comes into play. And you will see words such as where, when, why, and because. Okay, and I'm going to move on to the next slide, and I'll share some examples with you and hopefully kind of bring to light an understanding of how the subordinating and conjunctions are used with the dependent and independent clauses. Okay, so let's look at these examples. Stephen learned to play the drums when he was 7. There we have the word that tells us there's a subordinating conjunction. Okay, when. The next one, we'll go ahead and I'm going to highlight when. The sisters ate lunch where mom works. And there again is another subordinating conjunction. Remember that these words can begin dependent clauses that tell about the action in the main or independent clause of the sentence. Now remember, we're looking for the adverb, and an adverb reflects. When we're talking about the adverb, it modifies adjectives. Okay, it modifies adjectives or describes a verb or another adverb. Okay, so moving on, let's highlight where. And the next one, Juanita had a snack because she was hungry. All right. And lastly, Kim explained why she likes the story. Okay, those are 3 examples of these clauses, these adverb clauses that are independent clauses and dependent. So in this case, the sisters ate lunch. That can be an independent clause because that can actually stand alone on its own. The sisters ate lunch, okay? But they're connecting mom works. So they use the word where. The sisters ate lunch where they ate lunch at mom's work. That right there, the mom's work, that's going to be your dependent clause because it depends on the word where to connect that sentence. Another example, let's do that first one. Stephen learned to play drums. That's going to be my independent clause. Well, because that sentence can stand alone if you put a period at. Stephen learned to play drums. We have the verb and we have a noun in there. It shows the action. He was 7. So he was 7 would become the dependent clause. It depends on that previous sentence, and it depends on the when connecting the two. Stephen learned to play drums when he was 7. Next one, Juanita had a snack because she was hungry. So Juanita had a snack. Okay, Juanita's your noun, had is your verb. She was hungry. Because, why did she have a snack? Because she was hungry. And there's your conjunction, your dependent clause. Last one, Kim explained. So if we left that alone by itself, we would know that Kim explained is actually a fragmented sentence. It's incomplete. She likes the story. Both are incomplete. We could say she likes the story. That might be able to fly. You may be able to use that as a sentence, but you need to use the word why. Kim explained why she likes the story. Now there is a complete sentence. We're going to be doing a few more of these, and you'll be practicing some. That will be some of your homework today, students. Okay, here's some more examples of adverb clauses. Lucia went to bed because she was tired. Well, what did Lucia do? That's the action. She went to bed. Why did Lucia go to bed? Because she was tired. So the group of words or clauses that tells why Lucia went to bed, that is what she did, and then what are the group of words or clauses that tells why she went? Because she was tired. Okay, so always remember that there's going to be it joins an independent and independent clause. Let's look at the next sentence. We are searching where Jim lost his dog. What did Jim do? He lost his dog. Why are they searching? Where are they searching? Why are they searching? Because Jim lost his dog. What are the groups of words that tells us the why or the why? Well, because Jim lost his dog. Let's look at the next sentence. The kids went home when it got dark. So what's the action? Went home. Why did they go home? When did they go home and why? Because it got dark. That's why they went home. So these remember that you make the connection, and when you have a why or you have the what and you have the action, you need to ask yourself the why. Why did it happen? And so when you practice completing these adverb clauses today, remember to reflect back on these examples and the rules that you would use when you're identifying them, the words to use. Thank you, students. Okay, students, this part of the grammar lesson, we're going to talk about comparing with irregular adverbs. So comparing with irregular adverbs basically means actions and adverbs that can be compared by using the ER, the EST, more, or most. So a few adverbs that may not follow this pattern are considered irregular adverbs. So in this case, I've done a little chart here that identifies these three different types of irregular adverbs. So you have an adverb here, which is well and badly, and then you have the comparative adverb and then the superlative. So a comparative adverb is when you're comparing two two things with two subjects, two nouns with each other, two things going on. The superlative means it's the best of those two things. The adverb in this case we're using badly. This is badly. This would be when you're comparing the worst of something, and this would be the ultimate worst. So we're going to go to the next slide, and I'm going to read you a few examples and help you understand these better, and I believe it will shed some light on how and when you would use these particular irregular adverbs, whether it's an adverb, comparative adverb, or a superlative adverb. Okay, students, so these are the examples I told you about that I would bring to you from the previous slide. So when we look at this, let's just remember the column where I had adverb, I had the comparative adverb, and then I had the superlative. So here we have Josh played ball badly on Saturday. That's the adverb, badly. He played ball. How did he play ball? Badly. Okay, that is your adverb. And now to compare, which means you're going to compare that adverb with two different subjects. So you have Josh played ball worse than Terry on Saturday. That's a comparative adverb, and what that basically means is Josh didn't play ball as well as Terry on Saturday, because that's what they're doing with that is they're comparing the two. Who played ball better? Terry did. So Josh is comparing how he played ball on Saturday to Terry. He played worse. Josh played ball worse than Terry on Saturday. Okay? So let's look at this last one. This would be the superlative, which means worst of all. No comparison. This is saying Josh played ball the worst of all his friends on Saturday. That would be considered the superlative. That's the all-time maximum. You can't compare Josh playing ball to anyone else because he played ball the worst on Saturday. And I'm hoping that helps you understand what the adverb is compared to the comparative adverb when using a comparative adverb versus using a superlative adverb. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to fill in some blanks and to do your own adverbs and find the irregular adverbs and plug the information in on your exercise today. Remember to reflect back on these tutorials to follow the rules. Okay, thanks, students.